if y'all remember, if you were here, that we talked a little bit about Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech, right? 1963. It was a celebration of his, not celebration, it was the anniversary of his the 50-year anniversary of his assassination, and we played part of the "I Have a Dream" speech. So I wanted to pick up on just a little bit of that tonight, because I was thinking about this. About his dream, and I heard somebody say a few days ago that before Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had a plan, he had a dream, and a dream that came from the heart of God, and that's what created this national movement. That people signed on to his dream for racial equality and desegregation and all those things. Because they signed on because of his dream. Not because he initially had a plan, but because he had a dream. And so people respond. 250,000 people came to that speech in 1963, and then it just exploded into this national movement because he had a dream that tapped into what it means to be human, and what it means to be all of us, connected and in kinship with one another. So that's what made people respond. So I began to think that, I wonder what it'd be like for us if we actually began to think about what God's dream is for us. This is where Martin Luther King was living, that he was tapped into God's dream. And there's this great passage in Jeremiah 29:11. Some of you may know it. And it's typically translated like this. For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. Anybody, does that sound familiar to anybody? I know the plans I have for you. Well, what I wanted to share with you, if you guys give me just a second and do a little, dig a little bit deeper into this, is that cool? So the word for plans here is actually dreams. It gets translated plans, but in the original language, the word plans is actually dreams. It's imaginings. It's a new idea. And then the word for prosper you is this word shalom. Anybody know what shalom means? Peace? Yeah. It has to do with this well-being, this absence of chaos in our lives. It actually has to do with wholeness, what it means to be whole, fully who you are and who we are together. What it means for the world not to be torn to pieces and in chaos, but for it to be whole. So if you look at it like that, then this passage in Jeremiah 29, it really should be translated like this. I have dreams for you, declares the Lord. A new idea for you to try. I dream of shalom for you, peace. No more chaos and being torn apart and living a life that is out of sync with the way I've created you, but a life of clarity and wholeness, of relationship with me, with yourself, and with others. And this is God saying, I imagine a new reality where you know me and know yourself. I dream to give you the future that deep down inside you dream about and you hope for. I wonder what it would be like for us, right, to think, I hear a lot of people, and I grew up thinking this way, that I was trying to know God's plan for my life. You know, God, what's your will? What's your plan? Just tell me what to do. Give me sort of a step-by-step process. And I think a lot of times we live that way. But what if we began to, instead of asking God, what is your will for my life or your plan for my life, what if we began to ask God, what's your dream? What do you imagine? What do you dream for who I am, for my life? What do you dream for the world? What's your idea, God? What's your idea for what this world should look like? And then ask the question, how do we live into that? And I think that's a lot of where Martin Luther King was, right? And I get the sense that in communities like this, we begin to live out some of this dream of who God is and this shalom and what it means to live in connectedness and kinship with each other. I just imagine what it'd be like if all of us could begin to ask that question. What's your dream, God? How do you imagine my life? And how can I live into that? And I think if we live into that, right, then our lives become full and peace begins to be more part of it, and the whole world gets involved. So that's the thought for tonight, that God dreams. God is the source of our dreams. And as we connect to that source, then we feel those dreams coming, fulfilling in our lives and in our lives of the community. Okay, that's it for tonight.